And now for an amazing true story.
God gave the Israelites rules to follow, laws that protected them and gave himself honor. If one of the rules was broken, someone had to pay for it. And God's law made a special way to pay. If a person broke a rule, instead of having to pay for it themselves, they could offer up a sacrifice to God. That meant a person could take an animal like a bull or a lamb to the temple, and that animal would take on their punishment for them. The animal had to be as clean and as pure as possible. For generations, the Israelites paid for their sins this way, but God had a plan to change things completely. He started by sending the promised one, his very own son, Jesus. Jesus wasn't born in a palace or treated like a king as he deserved. He was born in the small town of Bethlehem. His mother Mary had to lay him in a manger because there was no room for them in the nearby inn. He was just like us in a lot of ways. Jesus had to learn to walk and talk, to read, to multiply numbers. But as he grew, his parents could tell that there was something special about him. When Jesus was around 30 years old, he traveled the country with his 12 friends, his disciples, teaching things that no one had ever taught. The most important thing is to love God and to love others, even your enemies. Jesus did love everyone, from the most important religious people. God loved the world so much that he gave his one and only Son. Anyone who believes in him will not die, but will have eternal life. To little children, let the little children come to me. The kingdom of heaven belongs to them. To his own friends, who were men that most people didn't even like tax collectors and smelly fishermen. No one has greater love than the one who gives his life for his friends. Jesus didn't just say amazing things, he did them too. He made blind men see and lame men walk. Get up, take your mat and walk home. He turned 5 small loaves of bread and 2 fish into a meal for over 5,000 people. Father in heaven, thank you for this food. Please bless it. And he even brought someone who had been dead for 4 days back to life. Lazarus, come out! These miracles were incredible, but they weren't the most special thing about Jesus. Jesus lived on earth just like other people. He had the same struggles and temptations to break the rules just like they did. But the big difference is, Jesus never broke the rules. He never sinned. But even though he was completely innocent, clean, and pure in every way, there were people who hated him. While Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane one dark night, a group of soldiers came to arrest him. Am I leading a band of armed men against you? Do you have to come out with swords and clubs to capture me? One of his followers fought to protect him. Stop it! Put your sword back in its place. Do you think I can ask my Father for help? He would send an army of more than 70,000 angels right away. But the scriptures say it must happen this way. Jesus was taken before the teachers of the law, where they slapped him and spit in his face. Here is what I say to all of you. In days to come, you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. And then he was brought before the governor, Pilate. Don't you understand? I have the power to set you free, or to nail you to a cross. You were given power from heaven. If you weren't, you would have no power over me. Pilate wanted to set him free, but the people shouted out their sentence. Crucify him! Crucify him! Jesus was beaten. A crown made of thorns was forced upon his head, and the hands and feet of this perfect and powerful Son of God were nailed to a wooden cross. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing. God's law said that something clean and pure had to be sacrificed as a punishment anytime his rules were broken. So Jesus, who never broke the rules, chose to give his own life, a clean and pure sacrifice, to pay the price for all the sins in the world.